in the world of Miu Miu, something that's to me a very, very interesting conversation is actually Miu Miu launching their first fragrance under their L'Oreal license. Now, I'll actually tell you why this is really important, why you should know about this, and all those kind of things. Yeah, so essentially, last year, Miu Miu signed a licensing agreement with L'Oreal. Now, Miu Miu has had fragrances in the past. This isn't like their first fragrance ever. They've had fragrances in the past, but all of them have not really done well. People haven't really cared. People didn't really take to it. And so it was great to see that they partnered with L'Oreal because, to be very honest, unless you're LVMH and in some regards Kering, but really only LVMH can do this at this point, or Pooch, there's like a few conglomerates that can like run their own fragrances, but everyone else needs like an Estee Lauder or like a L'Oreal or someone, because they just have so many factories, and they know the supply chain like the back of their hand, and they know the way everything works, and they know the industry, and they have connections with all the retailers. Like, it's so hard to replicate the success of a fragrance without, it being through a licensing agreement with one of these big conglomerates anyway. And so it's very important that Miu Miu, to kind of build on the really good revenue figures that they've been seeing. As we know, Prada and Miu Miu have done really well financially in recent times. The growth has been really good. The sales figures have been great. And the beauty industry is a money maker. It's literally how you print money in the fashion industry. So they're kind of investing heavily into it. And that's why they have a partnership with L'Oreal. L'Oreal will be creating, developing, and distributing their fragrances. And I think it's a very smart expansion. So people were speculating kind of what the rollout of Miu Miu's first fragrance would be, what it would look like. And now we finally have it. It's coming soon, and it's a fragrance by Miu Miu called Miutine. So we shall be watching closely, seeing kind of what the rollout for that fragrance looks like. I'll be watching closely to see how people take to it, if it sells well. Prada, in recent times, and the reason why it's very important to talk about Prada is because obviously it's the sister brand. Prada has a licensing agreement with L'Oreal that has been very successful. Prada, what's that Prada fragrance that they've launched recently? I actually really like it. Paradox. Yeah, Prada Paradox. That is a really good fragrance. Like, it smells really nice. And it's done so well for them financially. Really, really well. Really well. What's the notes on Fragrantica? I'm not sure the fragrance has actually like come out. I think they just announced it, but I don't know if anyone has actually smelled it. Yeah, it doesn't, I don't think it's launched yet, but they're just teasing it right now. But yeah, Prada Paradox is amazing. It's so, so good. So they kind of know what they're doing. And I think the group can see from Prada's success with L'Oreal that the money is there and that partnership works, which is why they're kind of bundling you into the same thing, which makes a lot of sense. Because I think the licensing deal with Prada Beauty and L'Oreal, the last one was in 2019, and like it's continued since. Wait, speaking on fragrance, my conversation is for sale by the half hour for... Don't get me started on the Dries Van Noten fragrances. What's your guess on style of fragrance? So, to be honest, let me see. Because I'm trying to see, like, because with Prada, what Prada has been doing, like with Paradox and stuff, the fragrance is quite versatile. It's kind of feminine, but then it's kind of not. And then it's kind of, you can dress it up and you can dress it down. So I think it's going to be kind of like a Paradox, kind of like a mass appealing smelling thing, like a smell that smells nice to a mass audience, but kind of they're going to make it slightly more girly. Now, how they do that, I don't know. A lot of brands, when they want to make stuff girly, they just make it really sweet and floral. I hope they don't do something as basic as that. I hope there's a bit more nuance to it, but they're going to make it more girly than the Prada fragrances. And they're going to like make them side by side. So it's going to be like, if you want the more mature fragrance from us, then you get the Prada Paradox. If you want the more girly thing, then you get the Miu Miu Miutine. I hope not. I hate floral fragrances. Yeah, I don't know why. I've had this conversation with my female friends that are really into fragrances. They tell me, a lot of them, first of all, they wear men's fragrances. And the reason why is they tell me that there's more variety in men's fragrance because a lot of women's fragrance, they're kind of all the same. It's kind of like the formula is vanilla and floral notes. That's kind of just the formula when it comes to women's fragrances. Also, for some weird, strange reason, women's fragrances are significantly more expensive than fragrances marketed towards men. I don't know why that is. Maybe they think that women, well, it's true that more women are into like beauty and care about the way they look and probably care about the way they smell. I can imagine that the average woman on the street smells better than the average man. So they feel like they can get away with selling fragrances to women for more. But it's strange. You would think that everything would just kind of be around the same price. Little Rose by Diptyque is the first floor I have truly enjoyed. Man, I wonder why. That's funny. But yeah, anyway, just kind of wanted to talk about that and talk about kind of this L'Oreal thing because I think it's really cool. Also, they had like, because they used to have a licensing agreement with Coty, and the fact that they're doing licensing with L'Oreal now is very interesting, like Prada Group I'm talking about, because it's kind of like an elevation. It's kind of like, it kind of sounds mean to say, but L'Oreal is like a step above Coty. Like L'Oreal has the ability to make luxury fragrances in a way that Coty can't, to be honest. Fernando says Miuccia is very smart and how she handles both brands. Prada focuses more on mature audience with a small playful side, whereas Miu Miu is the complete opposite and it works in all sectors. Yep, for sure. I usually hate floral fragrances too, but the Fleur de Mal dries down with warmth and musk. Yeah, but that's because Dries Van Noten fragrances are quite complex in the way that they're all made. That's why they all kind of have interesting dry downs. So yeah, but when you get, because the problem with Dries is already a niche brand. So even when Dries Van Noten made the line, I don't think you really cared on it being mass appealing. But when you make a fragrance of Prada or Miu Miu, it has to be very mass appealing. So they have to be careful with how many interesting notes they put in there because it can get too niche. And you don't want a fragrance from Miu Miu or Prada to be niche. You want it to be mass appealing so you can make billions, right? But that's why me personally, I'm more into fragrances from brands that are smaller because they tend to make fragrances that are more interesting, if that's what you're into. But I don't think there's anything wrong with mass appealing fragrances too. Like I said, I think Prada Paradox smells amazing. It really, really does, even though it's mass appealing. I appreciate all different fragrances. Even if I wouldn't wear it myself, I can still appreciate it. And Fernando says, I'm not going to lie, I'm a little scared of what they're going to do at Gucci. It would be nice to see the Tom Ford era return, but what are people to fall in love with him was the variety of... Wait, what? But what are people to fall in love with him was the variety of... Wait, what? I don't think I understand that last part. I don't think I understand it. This YouTube channel runs on your support. If you want to support the channel, you can subscribe to my Patreon. You'll gain access to exclusive content that includes everything from my Patreon podcast, where I give a behind-the-scenes insight into the fashion industry, as well as a fashion book club, where I review my favorite fashion books. You can also check out my fashion ebook, which highlights the best fashion journalists to follow, definitions of common fashion terminology, and how to determine what a good source of fashion information is. The links to everything are in the description below.